Your Authentic Self is a podcast designed to guide you towards a deeper, more rewarding life by nurturing your emotional, mental, physical and spiritual well-being. We're thrilled to take you on this journey. Welcome to today's episode.
Welcome to another episode of Your Authentic Self, and today we're going to be turning our thoughts to thoughts and core beliefs, negative automatic thoughts, where they all come from and how we can manage them. That's the theme of today's episode. So perhaps to start off with, we can have a think about what are core beliefs. So I understand core beliefs to be beliefs that we pick up from our very early years. So that would be from our parents or caregivers or from society, from school, teachers, and they're beliefs about ourselves and the world. And the thing with these core beliefs that we get so early on in our life is that we believe them and take them on board as if they were absolute truths. And the reason we do that is because when we're children, we don't have the same capacity to evaluate as we do when we become adults. So we take these beliefs on board and accept them as truths without the ability to evaluate them. And so they become core to who we are and to the way that we see the world. Or I should say, core to who we inauthentically are and how we see the world. Is that your understanding, Lee?
Yeah,
anything you want to add to that?
So. No, I think you've
done that by?
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so perhaps some examples of core beliefs. People might be thinking, okay, what are these core beliefs then? So I could probably put money on most people watching or listening to this will have a core belief that says something like, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Do you reckon?
I do. I think there's lots of core beliefs, but like you, I think if you could narrow some down, there would be core beliefs of definitely I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not lovable.
I'm not lovable, yeah.
I'm not likeable.
Yeah.
I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Not deserving.
Not deserving, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be better if I wasn't here.
Yeah. I was going to say, I don't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think those 5 or 6 are quite...
I think
there's more, but...
Yeah. There's not many. I think you could probably core beliefs, you could, if you got to 10, that would probably be about it. But I think top of the list of core beliefs for the majority of people will be, I'm not good enough.
Not good enough.
Yeah. And that, it makes sense really, doesn't it? Because like from, so early on in our lives, that's the message that we get given. Even the most well-meaning, loving parents, they're still so often giving the child this message of, you're not quite good enough. Like, no, don't do it like that. Or let me show you how. Yeah. Or get to school and it's like, you only got 9 out of 10 in your spelling test. What went wrong? Yeah. As opposed to, wow, you got 9 out of 10. That's amazing. Yeah. So very subtly, the message is absorbed by the child. I think that's like, I'm not quite good enough. I should have got 10, or I shouldn't have done it this way, or I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah. I think it's really good that you said that, because I know we've talked about it before, because it can be more extreme, profound stuff, like abandonment or rejection,
of course,
or stuff like that. But I think people sometimes don't realise it can be the more subtle stuff. So
very subtle.
Even look what a child's done a picture. Look what I've drawn. Look, I'm cooking dinner.
Too busy right now.
Too busy. It could be that sort of stuff. I can't play right now. So it can be the subtle stuff that.
And so the little child then takes their picture away, and it's like, it wasn't quite good enough, or I'm not good enough. Or,
that's right.
But you're right. In more extreme cases, like the core belief of I don't exist. I mean, I think that might arise from kind of neglect or abuse, or really not having any kind of emotional needs noted or taken care of in childhood. Along with the I'm unlovable. That's a really powerful and painful one, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, very painful, because you could have the I'm not good enough but not have the I'm unlovable. Yeah. Because you might get a message of I'm lovable but just not good enough. Yeah, so,
definitely.
But this all happens very early in life, doesn't it? Probably by the age of 10 we've got our core beliefs fully installed.
Definitely by 10. Even first 5. 6, 7 years definitely. Yeah. By 10 definitely they're there.
They're there, aren't they? They're installed and they're doing their dastardly work. Yeah. So once the core belief is I don't know why I'm using this word installed. I think it's probably because it's not authentic to who we are, is it? It's almost like it's kind of given to us, this core belief, and we kind of digest it somehow, so we install it into our way of being. And from that core belief, let's work with the I'm not good enough, because I think that's going to apply to most people watching this. So once that core belief of I'm not good enough is installed, what it does is it kind of gives rise to thoughts. So we could call them negative thoughts. So if I've got a core belief of I'm not good enough, what might come from that are these thoughts like I won't apply for that job because I won't get it. Yeah. So it's not like I'm thinking I'm not good enough, or it's just like the core belief is fueling that thought. I won't even apply for it, because underlying that choice is I'm not good enough, I won't get it. Or my partner doesn't really want to be with me. So I don't know why they are. I'll be thinking that, but of course actually that again is fueled by this because I'm not good enough. So the underlying belief is not being good enough. Do you reckon?
Well, definitely, as I said, and it's something that we sometimes, as you say, it's on an automatic loop. Then it's our first go-to. And it stems way back because it's been there. You say about ingrained, but integrated. Installed, whatever word you want. And doesn't matter. It could be from that picture or not being played with. But what we do is we take that into every aspect as we're going through our young self, our teenage self, our adult self. So it doesn't matter what we're doing then. That's our first response, is we're just not good enough to do anything then.
Exactly. It's quite painful, isn't it, when we think about this, because it's all unconscious, of course. We don't sit there and say, oh look, there's a job I'd like to go for, but I'm not going to apply for it because deep down I believe I'm not good enough. What we would do is just have a very quick automatic thought of like, no, I won't apply for it. And that's it.
We want on the subconscious to really analyse it. It's no point.
I'm not going to do it.
Not going to do it.
Or we might struggle to connect to our partner because we just like they probably don't even want to be with me anyway. So we would perhaps avoid like a deeper level of connection with them.
In conversation or approaching a subject.
But all unconscious, so it's quite tricky, isn't it? Because like, if this is all unconscious, how can we become aware that our core belief is driving some of our thoughts? And I'm talking about negative thoughts here rather than positive ones. I guess it's positive. People have a positive core belief, but in my experience, it's rarer than a negative core belief.
And I suppose what we're talking about, we're trying to support and help people to get some consciousness, because if we're having more negative belief systems, our life's going to be less fulfilled than if we're going to have a positive mind frame. But we can get onto positive mind frame or toxic positive mind frame on another
toxic positive mind frame. That's another podcast.
Another one. But I think we're talking about the negative, because actually if we're constantly on a loop of thinking that we're not good enough for other core beliefs, we're definitely going to be not having a fulfilling or reaching some sort of potential that we potentially have got in us.
Exactly.
So it's going to be more beneficial talking about this.
I think so. In fact, in my life I've only met one person who had a really solid positive core belief, and it was quite incredible, really. That such a wonderful childhood, such loving parents, every opportunity given to him, and it was just incredible that he almost like he could not comprehend a core belief like not being good enough. It was just quite incredible, really. That's one person that I can think of that hasn't been heavily influenced by something like I'm not good enough.
And you've met that person, and I haven't met anybody.
Oh, okay. Maybe there's just the one then.
I'd like to meet
just the one. It was quite bizarre. It was a friend of my brother's, actually, and it was just weird conversation.
And not to say that it's a real bad connotation. It's just, as I said, it can be subtle things. That it doesn't have to be anything profound.
No. Yes. So these core beliefs, these we're focusing today on the more negative core beliefs because they're more popular. Popular? That's not the word. What's the word? Common is the word. Not
normalised.
Common. So these kind of negative core beliefs then fuel the thoughts that we have, and these thoughts will be, just flying around in our minds all day, every day, but without us being consciously aware of why we're thinking those things. And I think that they can be I can't speak. be debilitating, is what I'm trying to say. You know, I'm thinking about, you know, the mum that takes child to school and is terrified of being in the playground, you know, with the other mums waiting for, well, dads I suppose, but, you know, I'm thinking, because I've heard this from a lot of mums, you know, they're just terrified because they're just worried about what all the other mums waiting are going to think of them, and almost like they're imagining that all these other mums are just thinking the most terrible things about them, when actually those other mums are probably standing there thinking the same thing, you know. And again, that kind of fear is being fueled by this core belief of not being good enough, isn't it? Like in that example, not being a good enough mum, or wearing the good enough clothes, or whatever it is.
It's interesting to say we might be getting off a bit left field a little bit, and we'll bring it back in.
Go left field.
Yeah, we'll go a bit left field. But it's even going back to the, I'm going to say mums or dad, but I know you said mums, but it's some people that can get into then of thinking, not feeling good enough about looking around other parents about how they're looking, how they're dressing, how they're going to be perceived. But then you get people that get into, well, I don't care.
Yes.
But I think actually it's not that they don't care. I think that is just a disconnection because they don't feel good enough.
Absolutely.
And if you don't feel good enough, that can feel quite vulnerable at times.
Indeed, yeah.
And it can be quite painful. Yeah. So that then you can build up more a persona.
Yes.
That I don't care, but actually you do care. It's just coming from a core belief that I'm not good enough. But I don't want to go near that stuff.
But it's like a defence, isn't it?
It's a defence mechanism.
That I don't care is a defence, because beneath all of that there is a caring. So it's easier to say I don't care, you know, I'm not bothered what people think of me.
No. So I wanted to bring that in because there's two ways that we can try to come away from not feeling good.
Come away from it, And in all of this, it can be debilitating because it can stop us doing things. It can almost like disable us, can't it? You know, so our negative thoughts fueled by the core beliefs can stop us trying things, meeting new people, having new experiences.
I can speak personal about myself. I can remember from a very young age being told that I've got loads of common sense.
All right.
You know, well, it's me and a family member. One of my family members had, very intellectual and very academic, and so a family member would say, "You've got all the brains, and you've got all the common sense." To me, I had all the common sense,
right? Okay.
And I'd rather have common sense. So I just started getting this core belief system. It's better to have common sense, not the brain. So I didn't then end up trying so hard at school. I don't need the brain. I don't need the academia. I'll just get by on my common sense, and that's what would get me back. But going back to then, but I had a sense that I wasn't good enough academically. You know, and it's something that I probably can't do. So I put it off for years and years of anything to do with academia. It was only come into my later life that I needed to start going back in and getting qualifications and pursuing things I wanted to do. But even then, going through getting certain qualifications, there was always times coming at me of, especially when it started to get hard, and of, I can't do this. I'm not going to get through it. I can't do another year of this. I can't do another 2 years of it. All those automatic negative thoughts. It's not that I'm not good enough. It's just all those other things. I can't do it. Not good enough. You know, I'm not going to get through it. So even from then, that was a core belief that I had. But then obviously I had to change that. And my mindset, my attitude around that stuff. So I just want to bring that in.
So something in you drove you to overcome those negative thoughts, didn't it? You know, you thought, okay, I don't think I'm good enough, it's too hard, I can't do it, but you still pushed through to do it.
I had to push through to do it. But then I had to evidence it. You know, because if I got through, because how I would do then evidence it, actually, well, you got through the last course. That was difficult, and you did that. So if you did that, then you can do it now.
Do it again,
but then I started getting more awareness that I had a core belief that I wasn't good enough. So as soon as I had that awareness, which we will go back to your good mantra of awareness brings choice. So in that moment, that awareness of having a sense of this, Lee, this is just your stuff and not feeling good enough. I had a choice then. Do I carry on just walking away, or do I have the choice of no? Evidence that you can do this. Keep on going. Reach out, get a bit of support. And doing things like that. So so that was the change there.
That was good. I'm just, again, might be a bit left field, but what is it, do you think, that was pulling you through or pushing you to do it, even though your thoughts were like saying, no, you can't do it, don't do it?
Well, I think that would have been my soul.
Your soul?
That would have been my soul. That would have, this is who you are, this is what you want, this is the path, this is who you truly are. and it's going to keep on leading you to the places that you want to go and you are aiming towards.
Right. Okay.
So I think so it was the mind stuff of the awareness of having a core belief and not fueling that core belief in balancing it up with evidence that I actually am. There are parts of me that are good enough, but alongside the soul stuff of listening to that. You know, no, this is you, or this is where you're going.
Yeah.
And once again, listen to that, and everything will be okay.
Yeah.
Keep going forward.
Yeah.
That's all I listen to.
So that was like the voice of the sun. You know, there's another podcast, isn't there, that's based on soul, so people could have a listen to that one. But it sounds like the soul was offering like an alternative message to the one of the mind.
Yeah, which I trusted.
Yes, it's good. Yeah.
So, and it was compassionate and more positive. You know, you are good enough. Keep going.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
This is the right way.
Because that's the way that we can kind of overcome these, isn't it? So, you know, the core beliefs are there. The core beliefs are going to just give rise to these negative automatic thoughts about ourselves and the world and others. You know, that's almost like automatically just going to be happening every day, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how we can begin to challenge that, like you're saying, is like, well, let's just listen to what the soul might say about that. Okay, so my mind says, no, you're not good enough, you can't do it, or you won't get it, or you know, you're not going to be able to do it, whatever the mind says. But the soul might say very calmly and you know, kind of positively, it might just say, yes, you can.
It'll be very simple.
Give it a go.
Yeah, very positive, very compassionate. You know, so so that's one way we can go through it around listening to the soul stuff. If we're are connected to soul, we can and we can feel into that. But we can also use the mind. So the mind's not just this completely.
Oh no, it's quite useful.
Bad thing. Yeah. So another thing is evidencing, and I know that you like to use scaling, scales, or so it's just or evidencing. You know, for myself, you know, actually, like I was explaining just now, actually, if I have a set of scales and I'm just my core belief is I'm outweighing my core belief of you're just not good enough, and that's down. It's weighing me down. Yeah. But actually, what I start doing then is actually, is it true you're not good enough?
Yeah.
You know, so I think, well, actually, you got through the last course.
Yeah.
You know, and actually, you've done this.
Yeah.
Or actually, you had this good thing, and actually just stop that. So it's not like the core belief my core belief of not being good enough may not just completely disappear.
No.
But in the moment, I can balance it out, which also supports me to keep going forward alongside the connection with soul.
Well, that's good, isn't it? Because I think you're right. The core belief doesn't ever get deleted.
No.
In my experience, there's an echo of it probably that will last forever. Yeah. But with the awareness, we can kind of know, oh, okay, so these thoughts I'm having right now, they're being fueled by my core belief.
Yeah. What
evidence do I have that core belief is accurate?
That's right.
What evidence do I have that these thoughts are accurate?
Yeah.
And then maybe begin to challenge them.
Yeah. And I think that they have to be challenged.
They do, otherwise they'll just keep running on negatively.
So that's the first thing, is getting an awareness and an understanding that we have this core belief.
Yeah, definitely. And it makes absolute sense. I mean, I'm hoping that anyone listening to this, it will make sense to them that we do have these core beliefs that sit at the centre of our being, that are there from such a young age, because it's almost like, how could we live in the world if we didn't have core beliefs about ourselves and others? It's almost impossible not to have them, isn't it? Because
we have to have some sense of who we are, even if that sense is coming externalising it at first.
Exactly,
You know.
Yeah. It would be, I don't think we could cope. How would we even navigate through life even
through our existence?
Exactly. It'd be too complicated. So we do need something to kind of tell us who and what we are. And unfortunately, for the vast majority, that message we pick up is often negative, isn't it? Like, I'm not good enough. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? We're so complex. We are complex. So we can challenge the negative thoughts and the negative core beliefs by looking for evidence, by listening to what our soul might offer as an alternative perception. Another way that I've challenged my negative automatic thoughts and core beliefs is through affirmation. Do you know affirmation? Yeah. You know, it's like a statement that we just kind of say over and over, or think over and over again. I think if science is, if I can remember science correctly, isn't it like you have to do it for 21 days or something for it to begin to take root? Right.
I think that could be. I think the science in that is around giving up anything, isn't it?
Oh, is it? Yeah.
I think it's giving up even smoking. I think.
Right. Okay. 21 days.
20 days, at least. I think
it creates a habit, maybe. Yeah. So you have to do it repeatedly. You can't just do it once, can you? So years ago when I was trying to change and challenge my not good enough core beliefs, I had it on a sign by my desk, and it was just like, I am good enough. Yeah. And I think it's important to do the I am in the challenging of it, not you are, because who's you? Yeah. If I say you are, I'm talking to you, aren't I? I'm not talking about me. Yeah. So it's actually I am good enough, and just keep saying it, and it's going to feel really uncomfortable. It did. It felt a bit silly, but it kind of worked, because I think, if I'm honest, the first default core belief that would come forward is you're not good enough. That in my internal mind, saying that to myself, you're not good enough. But actually, I can then very quickly notice that and turn it around. Yeah. Very quickly. But that's taken a while of continually reprogramming the mind with the I am good enough.
I think we've talked about before. So for me, and I think it's continue. I don't like putting like time limits on things. 21 days, a month, 6 months. I would just say, for me, if we've got a really, I think we use the word ingrained or integrated sense of ourselves, or a pattern of behaviour, be thoughts or behaviour. It's for me, it's a daily practice for the rest of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. Just repetitive. Because I say before, if we've got a pattern of behaviour, especially if it's been there for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, that's a daily automatic autopilot.
Yeah.
That's what I say. It never disappears.
No, I don't think it does.
As you said, a good word, an echo may come up, or I like to sometimes say it's like an hiccup.
Yeah.
Sometimes thoughts are like hiccups. Sometimes they just pop up.
Yeah.
But that's why we need be continuous, just to stay awake.
Yeah.
And aware of this, because like we're saying, we're talking about connecting to soul, having affirmations. Evidence in balance, and these are all tools and techniques. But the thing is that we don't use these new connections and tools and techniques. What have we got to draw back on? If we don't continue, we're just going to go back into the same old loop again. So for me, it's a continuation of using these new ways and techniques.
Yeah. It's interesting hearing you say that, because I guess I do, but I hadn't kind of like framed it like that, because I was thinking my internal process is like, I can't do that because I'm not good enough, and actually I'm going to give it a go and try it and see what happens. So I guess I'm doing that, I'm challenging it daily, but I hadn't kind of thought of it in that way.
But you are, yeah. Well, because if you wouldn't, you would have done it for 21 days,
and
you wouldn't have to ever do it again.
No, exactly. In which case I'd be cured, and I'm not. So you're right. I just haven't kind of named it or labelled it in that way. There's like quite recently I thought I'd do a video thing for a Facebook group I've got, and it was really challenging to do the video thing, because of course the first thought was like, how embarrassing, what people are going to think. All of those thoughts fueled by the core belief of not being good enough. But that process unfolded, and then I just thought, I'm just going to do it anyway. And then actually one kind person gave really complimentary feedback about it, and I just thought, you know what, I'm glad I was able to turn that around. And that was quite quick, that was literally a couple of minutes, going through that internal process. Whereas at one time I just wouldn't have done it at all, ever.
No, it's a bit like myself. I'm not just very aware of myself and others, and something I've learned is just a big thing for me. Myself is about emotional vulnerability. Yeah. And it's the same for me around doing this podcast. Yeah. And actually, I've been quite private in my life, and kept myself to myself as much as I can. But this is a very vulnerable thing.
You've been exposed to the world,
and there'll be a lot of people that haven't saw me maybe for 20 years or something, and have a different perception of me then and who I am now. And I suppose that core belief of not being good enough come up for me over the last couple of months. And I think a bit like yourself, but actually, no, this is my authentic self. This is me being vulnerable. Yeah. And actually, this is me, and how I am is good enough.
Yeah. And actually, this you is the you that you always have been anyway, beneath the inauthentic mask.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And actually, this is who I am, and and that's okay.
Yeah. That's great. I'm glad you overcame the thoughts of whatever you had to overcome to do this. If I was talking to myself, wouldn't I? Yeah. It's like my not good enough core beliefs. I used that word debilitating earlier. Like when I was like in my late teens. I mean, the debilitating nature of those thoughts then were literally crippling. I mean, I couldn't get on a bus. Right. Because I couldn't speak to the bus driver to say where I wanted to go. I couldn't go into a shop. I mean, I couldn't do anything. The thoughts were just like so so negative it had really reduced my life down to nothing, all fueled by this not being good enough. I absolutely do also have a core belief of not being lovable based on childhood stuff. And so, like, you know, even just the most basic things like getting on a bus were just impossible. So I used to walk, you know, miles across the city to get to college or whatever, and even that I couldn't follow through with, so I only went a few times. You know, it was really, really debilitating. So when I began to challenge this, it's opened up so much more to life. But I would say this is more like the authentic me, that really lacking in confidence me from my late teens, early 20s. That wasn't the real me. Do you know what I mean? That wasn't. It was like a false representation of me that had been created by these core beliefs and negative thoughts. But it wasn't really me.
So what helped you with that?
Well, overcoming that.
Overcoming the bus.
Yeah, like I say, affirmations, and really having to challenge the core beliefs. Really recognising, okay, where are these coming from? Core beliefs. Okay, where did the core beliefs come from? Actually, they came from my parents. A bit of school, but primarily parents. Okay, right. So I've got that. So then what I did was almost like recognise that. So if these thoughts and beliefs came from my parents, they're not even mine. Are they actually? They're not my personal beliefs that I've fostered over many years of philosophical exploration or whatever, you know. They're not even my thoughts or beliefs. So then I started to kind of like separate from them a bit, so kind of almost like hand them back. So like, you know, here you go, Mum, this is your belief, not mine, you know, kind of imagine handing it back, so that I could separate myself from these beliefs that I had kind of, you know, soaked up from all the stuff that had gone on explicitly and implicitly. But that, you know, that was a massive journey, really. You know, that didn't happen in 5 minutes. That was a lot of therapy, a lot of work.
I was going to say, it didn't happen in 21 days.
It didn't actually, no. Whoever came up with that 21 days can't be right, can they? Scrap that. It can be difficult.
And that's what I think I was saying to myself as well, is you know, there's core beliefs of not being good enough and not being lovable from my own past experiences of abandonment and rejection. And we always said that, you know, about academia, not just the abandonment and rejection. So there's lots of stuff in there. But with some self-exploration and some therapy. But since, you know, maybe over half a lifetime. So I've been doing this for over half my life now. Like I say, I'm going back to the 20 days. That's why I say it's a daily practice. It's still, even though I'm aware of this stuff now for like 20 years, it doesn't mean that every now and again that sense, that hiccup will come up, or I'm not too sure about that, or that not good enough, or not livable. But I still need to continue use the tools and techniques that I've got, like you know, connecting to my soul, or evidence in that, or give myself some affirmations, all the stuff that we're talking about. So there's still continuation now, even after a long time. But it may be because I use it a lot of the time. It may be longer distances between them. It doesn't mean that it completely.
No, it doesn't disappear.
Doesn't completely disappear.
Talk about evidencing a bit. I wonder if it would be useful just to kind of say a bit more about that. So, like, for me, the evidencing bit is like, okay, so my mind is presenting this thought, like, I don't know, no point applying for the job, they'll choose someone else. That's a negative thought, fueled by not being good enough. So then what we could do to kind of challenge that is to find evidence for it. So, okay, how many jobs have I been for in my life? Okay, so 5. Out of those 5, how many jobs did I get? Actually, I got 4 of them. So actually the evidence suggests that when I go for a job, it's more likely than not that I'll get it. Is that what you're meaning when you say evidence? So really breaking it down like that. What's the thought, and what evidence do I have to support that that's actually true? That thought, like, there's no point going for the job because I won't get it.
It's a bit like the last course that I was on, obviously, and then I thought, well, there was at times I thought, you know, this is too. Once it's just the you know, the automatic thought of no, you're not going to be able to do this. It's too hard. It's too difficult. But once again, my evidence was, well, actually, you've already completed a diploma. You've already got other qualifications. You got through that. So actually, is it true that you're not good enough? Is it true that you can't get through it? So for myself, well, no, you got through it before. So the likelihood of you will get through it again. So that's the sort of evidence.
And I think that's a really valuable and essential way of challenging this, isn't it? You know, like, say for example, someone saying, you know, people don't like me. That could be fueled by not good enough and unlovable, couldn't it? Unlikable. People don't like me. Well, let's have a look at the evidence for that. And maybe because this core belief and these thoughts have been debilitating, maybe that person hasn't really ever connected with the world or had many friends. So they could say, well, look, the evidence supports it. Look, yeah, I've got no friends, so people don't like me. But that's not kind of true evidencing, is it? Because they haven't put that theory to the test. So maybe they could do like a bit of an experiment and just, I don't know, I mean, it's going to be really difficult for someone to do this without support, but, go to something, join a group, join a club or whatever they might be interested in, and then test the theory. So when I went to that event tonight, how many people spoke to me or smiled at me? Or, do you know what I mean? To really begin to test it, because otherwise the finding the evidence could be like a self-fulfilling prophecy almost.
Well, that's it.
Do you know what I mean?
Because you don't put yourself in those positions.
Yeah.
So you're actually, like you're saying, self-fulfilling. Like, See, but actually, have you actually tried?
Yes, yeah. I've got 100% evidence that says nobody likes me because nobody ever rings me up and says, well, yeah, but how many friends have you got? Do you have any connections of people who would ring you? Yeah. So I think we've got to be careful, because the mind would latch on to the almost like the false evidence and take that as a support of the thought or the belief.
Yeah, because we try to reinforce it.
Yeah,
don't we? And I know that you've got the mental crunches and stuff.
It's like that's a disease.
Yeah. Mark's got the mental crunches, but we'll talk about that after the podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's like that theory before, isn't it? It's someone that's received a birthday card from a sister-in-law and they say, happy birthday, I hope you have a lovely day, you deserve it. Well, they're bound to say that because I'm married to their brother.
Yes.
So the first thing, actually, there could have been some actually genuine honesty with that, but what we just try to reinforce that actually, because their core belief is that I'm not likeable.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So they just try. We sometimes then try to find evidence that we're not good enough or we're not likeable.
Absolutely.
And that's the stuff to start to be awake and aware of. How actually am I contributing to this now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I should say more about the mental crunch. Just to think I've got some terrible disease. The mental cruncher it's like this idea that there's almost like, imagine like this machine that sits outside the belief system, and so it will distort anything that's outside the belief system. It will distort it into something that fits with the belief system. So someone says, I love you, the mental cruncher says, actually that's not familiar with the belief system, so I'm going to convert that into, they don't really mean it, they're just saying it. So the mental cruncher, imagine it's this thing that crunches it into beliefs that is
it's a bit like
familiar.
the card situation, isn't it? The person's got a belief that they're not likeable, they've been sent a card to say you are likeable and I hope you have a beautiful day. They've crunched into, no, they're only saying it because I'm married to the brother.
Absolutely.
So they mental crunched it.
Exactly.
And you're cleared.
I am clear. I've got no strength. It sounds like some kind of parasite in my mind or something just crunching away at my brain. But just for those who weren't familiar with that, I thought we should have explained.
But that's the sort of stuff I think to start to, because some people might not even realise that they've got the core belief, or that they actually do that or try and reinforce their stuff, and it's just a constant loop, which is actually debilitating for them.
And keeps them stuck in a life that they don't really want, and in a way of being that's inauthentic. Because I was thinking of perception as well, which is a bit like what we were just saying about the beliefs being crunched into the right belief, whatever. But our core beliefs and then the thoughts that arise from that create our perception, don't they? So they create the way that we see ourselves and the world and other people, and often that's going to be an incorrect perception. So I always use this example, like, if you think or believe that your partner is having an affair, you will find evidence to support that, even if they're not. They could be the most loyal, devoted, loving partner in the world, but if you believe they are, you will find evidence. For example, you'll be checking their phone when they go to the loo, and you'll see that missed call at 1 o'clock, lunchtime, and you look, there they are, who's that? And it won't even enter your mind that was some call centre somewhere trying to sell double glazing. It'll just be, that's, who's this?
I think that's the clear. Actually, you're not finding evidence. You're seeing clues and turning it into
evidence.
Which is not there.
You're making evidence out of something that's totally innocent.
Because we use the word evidence, but sometimes I work with people now. I use it as the same thing, but just a different wording of reality checking. So one of the things that you can use is, do I know this to be 100% true?
Yes.
Now, if I don't know it to be 100% true, is it serving me? Is it helping me to think about it right now?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it probably isn't.
Yeah. exactly. But I think this is huge, isn't it? This needing to be aware of how we're perceiving things and checking out how accurate is that perception.
Definitely.
It could destroy relationships, couldn't you? If you've got this loyal, devoted partner and you're convinced of having an affair because you believe you're unlovable and because you believe you're not good enough. The thoughts that arise from that are, why would they even want to be with me? They're probably not, And then you'll find evidence to support that. So your perception's very skewed. Because it's tainted by those core beliefs.
Definitely. And as you said, you'll find something in nothing if you keep on looking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so what can we do with that? Like, so, because like we say, we're not cured from this, are we? We're still living with this. So I guess there's something about the evidence thing again. So we could check it out, couldn't we? So like in this example of someone having an affair, we could say like, I'm just having a vulnerable moment, and my mind is telling me that you're having an affair. Do I need to worry? Can you reassure me? And then partner could say, no, you're fine. I'm still with you. Do you know what I mean? We could check that out. I mean, I had to do it with you the other day, didn't I? I had a vulnerable moment early one morning, wasn't I? I was in the gym and thought, I think I might have upset Lee. So rather than that ruin my day and week and fester on that, I just sent you a quick message, didn't I? And you were able to say...
Well, you sent me a message, and actually it was the opposite.
Yes.
I think it was you were putting stuff out on social media.
I think it was that,
You were putting some stuff on social media for, should I ask Lee? I think he might not be happy about that. Actually, I said, no, I'm actually appreciative that you did that.
Exactly.
Carry on.
But in the old days, I think that before I learned to really check it out, because it saved so much pain, I would have taken that thought of, actually it wasn't have I, it would have been I have upset Lee, and then I would have felt bad and guilty and probably would have pulled away from you because I couldn't face it anymore, and that would have been the end of it probably, and I'd have felt pretty bad about it for weeks.
But like you saying just now about looking for something, finding it, and it's actually reality when it's not. It's like that there, you would have ran away with it. No, I actually have upset Lee. That has happened, you do feel it, and actually without the inquiry or the evidence, actually it wasn't true. So I think that is the part that we're saying, isn't it?
But I think for me, even if it had been the opposite, even if you had been upset by it, I'd rather know that, because then we could talk about that, and then But either way then it works, doesn't it? Rather than the old thing of me just pulling away and never speaking to you again.
So there's lots of things that we've talked about already where we can use it. We can get into the actual from my stuff, the soul stuff, actually, what's really true here, what's not true here. And I think we picked up on affirmations, evidence, and other things that we look around now, I look around now with people is actually, first and foremost, is start to be, we're going away from core, we can be the core beliefs, but I'm going away a little bit. I'll use core beliefs and just negative thoughts.
Right.
Because I think the first and foremost is to be aware of the negative thoughts. Because when I do this to people, I have to reassure them. I'm not going to show you, look how many negative thoughts you got. Actually, no, because we've all got our own negative thought patterns, and it's all individual. But as soon as you start to be aware that because all these thoughts will be on a loop daily. So as soon as you start to be aware that you might have thoughts, certain negative thoughts, as soon as you got awareness, hold on a minute, I know what I'm doing here, I'm getting caught back up to me, and then you can start doing something different around it. And that's when you can bring in more positive statements or affirmations, with things as well. So I think you can start short wiring them with the affirmations, and with the positive statements.
But I think you said earlier, the first step in that is the awareness, isn't it?
It's the awareness.
So my mantra is awareness equals choice equals change. But we're not going to change anything until we're aware of it.
No,
because there'd be no choice. It'd just be unconscious, wouldn't it?
That's why I try to say to people, listen, I don't want to show you how many negative thoughts were and how bad your thought. No, this is just about to bring some awareness, something about being awake to it. As soon as you're aware that you got these, and you're aware in the moment, you have a choice then. Continue these loops or actually do something differently. And we work with them how they can do something a little bit differently.
Exactly. And doing it differently is probably going to be more helpful, isn't it? Finding the evidence, how accurate is this thought, how accurate is this belief, how accurate is this perception, by really checking that out and sometimes including somebody else in checking it out. We're going to be able to turn things around, aren't we? And the first time I ever did any teaching was a workshop. I can't even tell you how many years ago this was, a long, long time. And of course the negative automatic thoughts were like, no one's going to come, And why would anybody come to your workshop? And I think, if I remember rightly, it was something on just like understanding and working with angels. I think that was the very first workshop I taught. And it was back in the old days, before social media or whatever, so it was all posters around town and that kind of thing. And put it out there, because my core beliefs, no one's going to come, you're mad, why are you doing this? And then actually on that first workshop it sold out, and I couldn't believe it. But there was, again, like you said earlier, I think it was my soul pushing me to do something, no matter how loud and painful those beliefs and thoughts were. I did it, and then I had evidence like, okay, so even though I believed no one was going to come and thought that would be the case, it sold out. So that was then some evidence I could take forward to the next workshop, and then a course, and then now I've been teaching for I don't know how many years. Yeah,
because that's what happens. Because if you do something once, you're more likely to do it again.
Yeah.
And if you've done it the second time or third time, then that becomes the new pattern.
But sometimes don't we have to tap into some part of us that is brave or courageous? Because to do something different for the first time could be quite scary.
Yeah.
Couldn't it?
Definitely. I think that's to gain some new values and perspective. I think one of it is being creative. Yeah. Which could be being courageous. And being creative, doing something new. And we've got to be vulnerable within that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's lots of values and new traits we can do to help us along the way.
Yeah. So to sum up today's episode then, we I guess thinking that we've got to become aware of our thoughts, aware that they're probably coming from a core belief, and be open to challenging them. Do you think that's the takeaway from this episode?
We've got to challenge them. Yeah, I think it's... Going back to what you were saying, I definitely think that's the first and fundamental thing. Start to become aware of them. As soon as you've got awareness of them, then you do have a choice to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which will come into the affirmations, the soul stuff, the positive statements. There are other things we can do, but we've just got a short number of time to discuss all this today.
But there's future podcasts, aren't there? Yeah. I guess I could kind of finish with something I often post on social media, and it's don't believe everything you think.
That's right. Yeah.
I like that. It's a very simple, short little thing.
I think mine was virtually the same, because it's just all different words. Just because you think it doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah. Same thing. Just I've got those words.
Yeah. But that's it. It's an individual thing. As I'm saying, it's to find what works for you.
Yeah. Maybe that one could be, is it true?
Yeah.
And I'm a great advocate of the post-it note. Have these on post-it notes. Is it true?
Yeah.
So that brings us to the end of another episode of Your Authentic Self. Thank you for listening or watching, and do remember to hit the subscribe or like button, because it helps us to get the message out there to more people. So we'll see you again on the next episode of Your Authentic Self. We appreciate you taking the time to listen to us today. If anything you have heard has resonated with you, you would like to explore more, or have found difficult, you can get in touch with us. Our details are in the show notes below, along with some other useful links.